You don't know how crazy it was just to press that button that started this conversation. I can't believe this is happening this way. This is No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. I'm the Jamie Erdahl portion of it. And frankly, if you're here hanging out and even conceptualize the understanding and the conversation of no breaks, your life is probably crazy. And you might know me from my previous jobs. And you might need a little place for your brain to idle on a lily pad or at a train stop or any of the above. So welcome in. This is No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. I am so proud that you are here as a part of this conversation. If you have followed me before, or if you know me previously, first of all, thank you for watching and thank you for not being sick of me already today. If you work with me, if you're my family, what have you. This was born this summer out of a lot of conversations with people that are in my life, both new in my life and old in my life. And just that this world and this life that we all live right now, it doesn't have any interruptions. And the world that I live in right now, in live TV, in sports, we go to break sometimes at the most inopportune times, and it leaves us all on a cliffhanger, and it's frustrating and it's terrifying. And it was just born out of, we take breaks when we don't want to and we need them so desperately and they don't come for us. It's it's a wild thing because there is a phrase in football, all gas, no brakes, and it's macho and it's masculine and people wear it on t-shirts, and that's not this. It's not like the scary and reckless part of like if your car doesn't have brakes, the BRAKES. This is BREAKS, and I want it to be a little bit reckless, but not the scary kind. Oh, hello people from Ohio and New Jersey. I appreciate you so much for being here. This chat, it's live and up in front of me on YouTube, which is amazing. So please keep saying hi. And if anything sticks, just type it in the conversation and we can chat as we go. But I have a couple of things that I want to get to today. Some business, if you will, for No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. Like I said, this is going to be relentless, hopefully in a good way, in a fun way. I want this to be a good storytelling mechanism. I am highly aware that what this ends up becoming is a lot of stories on my behalf. And I am highly aware that that might get old, my voice. I hope it doesn't get annoying, but I want you to know that when I go to tell stories, as we stumble upon them, as things are happening in the world, that I tell them for you to relate to them and not as a bragging mechanism or that I just want to talk. I can't believe somebody's watching me in the UK right now. I just got back from Ireland. Speaking of no breaks, people were laughing at me in my life that this was happening today, that I committed to this launch on October 1st, because I was in Dublin, Ireland over the weekend, and I was supposed to land at this cushy old time on Monday at noon, and there was fog in Amsterdam, and we got delayed coming out of Dublin, and I ended up landing at midnight on Monday, and I was at work at 5 a.m. on Good Morning Football on Tuesday. And then this is happening on Wednesday. So the embodiment of no breaks is that we commit to things and we just keep marching through them. But I want this to be a community of no breaks. Okay, so I've done my best to kind of open up all the socials in this capacity. And if you are feeling like your life is in that no breaks mode right now, this is the place to hang. But I want you to come and just be able to listen to me blah, 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 and just take a break. Like I said, have your mind idle and lily pad on whatever's happening in my life right now. So I was in Dublin, Amsterdam. Somehow I got rerouted to Seattle, and then I ended up back in Southern California. And I think one of my bags is still in Amsterdam, actually. So I was supposed to do I was going to touch up my makeup before coming on here, and I don't have any makeup. I realized it's in Amsterdam still. So I have to do that. I am so appreciative of everybody who is saying where they're from right now. Buffalo, Montreal, Mass, which shout out to the first big girl job I ever got was in Boston, Massachusetts. The fact that I have notes on my side of the screen that I want to get to, and people are distracting me on the left to talk about where they're from is incredible. So hi, hello again. No breaks. It's Jamie Erdahl. Let's focus. Keep on track. This is what we're talking about here. Whew. I want you to feel included in this. So by me shouting out where you're from and calling this show fetch, I want you to know that I can see you and that I hear you. How are you guys today? Are you good? I'm all right. This has been a crazy time. So like I said, this thing started back on June 1st, and it started, truth be told, as an observation of influencers in the wild right now. A good friend of mine who I work with sometimes, Isaac Rochelle, if you guys know him, he's very popular on the internet. He comes by Good Morning Football sometime, and he's very, very big in the social media world. And he was essentially propping me up to try TikTok. And I observed it for a while. There was like a trying on for size period with me for TikTok. And then I just jumped right in. And something I realized, and this is through no judgment of how people go about their business on social media, it was just an observation because of my day job. I host a TV show that's live on NFL Network. Frankly, if you're here, you probably know that. But if you're here and you have no idea, then welcome. And just know that I've already done a couple hours of TV today, and now here we are chatting about some more stuff. But I started watching people on social media and really popular influencers, and I had a general observation. This is not a blanket statement. It's not across the board, but a general observation that I think there is a personality of the influencer that really relies upon their content being edited and what we would call in television highly produced or post-produced. So you put an hour's worth of stuff on tape, and the 15 minutes, the best 15 minutes that gets put out there is what people see. But that's not realistic. That's not the reality of, I think, what the basis of being an authentic person on the internet or in media, or just someone who's trying to get out there and connect with people. So that was kind of the jump start for me having this concept to be live on YouTube every day with no breaks, and not having you guys ever think that I have this take about life or stories or conversations that I'm going to have with friends, and it gets edited and you only see the good parts or the funny parts or the parts where my crying looks pretty or cute or whatever, because that is unrealistic. So there is a literal interpretation of no breaks with life. There is what I'm trying to, I guess, prove is that there is a way to have conversations like this in an authentic way, where you understand that when we press go on this Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, that we're not stopping until, I don't really have an end time, honestly. It's just how long we end up chatting. But there is no edited version of this. I want to keep, wow, someone's watching me from a military base. That's incredible. Shout out to you guys. Dang. Okay, moving on to my next talking point. I have notes in front of me, which frankly, like I said, I host a football show on NFL Network. I have a lot of football notes, but not a lot of scripts in front of me. So but I wanted to make sure I kind of stayed on track, because I'm going to be honest with you. Go Vikes. The chat on the left side of you guys being awesome, and my notes on the right side, I have to really, really focus. So moving on. Oh, this quote, I wanted to do two quotes, or reference two of them when we started today, which was one of the major inspirations for this was a quote that I saw. And frankly, I'm terrible at referencing quotes, but I'm also terrible at remembering them perfectly. So this one, sadly, I had to write this down. For putting yourself out there like this and including people in conversations and stories, the entry point for this is embarrassment. The entry point for success in this capacity, in telling stories and connecting with people, is embarrassment. And I'm not saying that I'm embarrassed right now. What I'm saying is people may have seen me pushing this promotion or content out over the last couple of weeks, and whether they like it or not, they may have rolled their eyes or felt embarrassed for me or about it. But I want this community and this group of people that want to watch every day and chat and hang out to not feel embarrassed and to feel like they're welcome and like they have a place to go every day. And if you want, as we put these clips out and as I kind of keep asking the questions that I was asking in the weeks leading up to this, just spill your guts in the comment section, because if I don't see it or if it doesn't resonate with me, there's other people here that are going to see it. Okay? So entry point for success is embarrassment. The other quote that I wanted to reference is from my friend, which is weird to say because she's very popular, Whitney Cummings. She's a comedian. She was on our show recently. And she had this podcast episode the other day and she posted the clip, and I don't think I'm a very damaged person. We all have damage. It's like the second you're born, the world is imprinting on you and your community is imprinting on you. But Whitney teed it up and was like, damage is funny. So I want to be able to laugh at the fact that life is relentless and we're not going to go to break, and I'm going to bang on my microphone with my lip gloss that I've been twirling in my hands, which I need to put down because fidgety hands are not. I haven't spoken with my hands this entire time, which is very unlike me. Put the lip gloss down. So damage is funny. Entry point for success is embarrassment. These are the basis. These are the pillars of this show that we're working with. Every show on No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl, sweatpants of the day. We're never going to take a break. Let's stop down for a second and just acknowledge sweatpants of the day. Thank you for watching. Good Morning Football is still a thing. Don't you guys worry. No breaks, no notes. I should probably do no breaks, no notes. The brand of lip gloss is by Mario. And the top fell off of it and it's really sticky. Okay. 4 words of the day. Every day, I'm going to have a 4 words of the day. It's going to be like a mantra or an intention, however people want to commit to that. But there is a history to 4 words of the day for me in my lifetime. So there's several points in my life where my mom would say to me, remember those 4 words. And yet the 4 words changed all the time. So, and unfortunately for my kids, I have introduce this concept into my parenting. Again, it's like whatever people are saying, generational trauma. I'm probably just passing this down, but it works, okay? Because when I was 4, those 4 words were, may I please have. Okay, remember, like, I want to change a channel. May I please have. Somehow that like magically makes you like a more polite child. When I was a teenager, and frankly into my 20s, those 4 words from my mom became, you can do better. In the dating world, several gentlemen in my life caught the tail end of the you can do better from my mom. And that has always been like when my mom would say, remember those 4 words, it was like the definition changed, but the impact of the words were always important. So I wanted to adopt that into No Breaks every day, just so we're not like this flailing sailboat every day for a half an hour. Every day we're going to have 4 words. And today's are why, will, and will nots. Okay? Why, will nots. I'm going to tell you why we're here. I'm going to tell you what I will do. I'm going to tell you what I will not do. And then we're going to move on because we have some characters also that I want to introduce that are going to be a growing part of this show, because it can't just be this. Let's be honest. Otherwise, I'd be very distracted. Kevin in the chat, you bring up a great point. And I'm going to start with what I will do. No, should I start with what I will not do? Kevin, I'm going to get to you. Hold your thought, okay? Because Kevin, you have a great point that you just made in the chat, and I'm going to get back to it. And it's going to be the whole basis for my will nots, all right? This is the why. The why that we're here is, I already kind of covered this. I want to have a community. I want people to come and hang. I want to be able to tell stories. I feel like I've lived a great life in terms of what I've been gifted and what I've accomplished and what I have going on. I'm married for 8 years. I've got 3 kids. They're 6, 4, and 1. And I've moved 4 times, I think, in the last 4 years. So there's a lot of stories to tell. There's a lot of life that's lived in this 36 years of life. But all of you have too. And so whatever story I do tell, like I said, I want the community, I want the connectivity, I want it all to happen. And the relatability. I might sit here because my hair's been blown out today and my makeup's been done. that probably might not appear very relatable, but there's going to be days where it doesn't look like this, and that's going to be okay too. We're just going to make it okay. All right. And my last why that I wrote down, frankly, and this one feels weird. It goes against kind of the humility chip that I try to have and stay and keep instilled in me and parent into my kids, which hashtag that's really hard to do. I understand and can recognize, and frankly, I like to breathe life into people. When you're good at something, it feels good to be good at it, and you should just keep doing it. So there's a lot of layers to that. I am good at yapping. I am good at talking. And I hate the word yapping. It's very popular right now on social media. Ick. I'm good at talking. I'm good at talking at people. I'm not great at staying focused on what is being written and focusing on what I wanted to tell you. But I'm good at this. And I understand that it's okay to say that out loud. It's taken me a long time to be able to say this. It's okay to say something, I'm good at this out loud, and then pursue it. And I come across a lot of people in life, and especially those who work in sports television, who want to do this, or they have a certain skill set within sports TV, who they think they're supposed to do it a certain way or go a certain path. When you really boil it down to, I think a lot of people in their heart, they know what they're good at, and you have to say it out loud. And then you have to be really proud of it, because I think once you become proud of it, the opportunities become endless. So I want to show people that it's okay to pursue the skill and the thing that you're good at, even though the thing that you were good at, maybe it was an odd skill or something to have when you were a kid. Hi from Canada. Those are some of my whys, the why that we're here. Here are some things that I will do for you. I'm going to be live here every day, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Angela, I am focusing. Okay. I'm going to be live here every day at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to say something right now that I wrote it down here for the first time, which is my goal is for this to be on for a year. Okay. I almost don't want to do a check-in until we're at the year mark. It feels like at times that's the only way my life operates, which is once football season starts, which for me, it's August 1st. There's no looking up until a week after the Super Bowl is done. There's just no options. There's no, I'm going to go to Dublin and back and my bag's going to get lost and I have 3 hours sleep. And like, you know what? Somebody else could do that day, because our kids don't get that luxury from us and they don't deserve that. I think if you commit to a job or a goal, that's how you should handle it. So no breaks with Jamie Erdahl. I'm here for the 1 year commitment. Check back in with me on October 1st, 2026 and see how this went. Those are my wills. You're going to be included in this group. I will dedicate myself to this conversation as long as you keep it clean, keep it safe, be a good person. There's a be a good person story at the end of this conversation that I'm going to get to. I will let you into parts of my life that I haven't really done that before. And it's not because I had an opinion whether or not I should. It's just that in my career, and I've been on TV now in sports only, exclusively, not even primarily, exclusively for 13 years. I got my first big girl TV job in the fall of 2012. In the fall of 2012. And I had graduated college in December of 2011, and I had done a smattering of television appearances before that. But I'm saying pay the rent on the apartment type of job in the fall of 2012. I moved to Boston. I was on a station there called New England Sports Network. And in Boston in particular, the sports fans are so intense. They're so intense. And one thing I recognized early, because those athletes in that town are dedicated to the cause, and they won a lot when I was there. That was like the heyday of Boston sports, World Series, championships, whatnot. But what I recognized early, that it's about telling the story of the athlete and the coach. And I was my entire career just a mechanism for that. And that was in Boston. And then I went to CBS and I was a sideline reporter for 8 years. One on college football early, mid-level college football, and then 4 years on the NFL on CBS. And then another, oh my gosh, 3 or 4 years, I can't remember, on the SEC on CBS. But that entire time, if you're a sideline reporter, you are beholden to the product and the game that's on the air that people are watching on TV. And I really liked that. I was, again, to circle back, I was good at it. I can recognize that now. I feel okay saying it that out loud. I loved the sports that I covered. I played basketball in college, and it was what I loved doing. But over time, I crafted a personality, sure, on television, but oftentimes it wasn't about me, and it shouldn't have been, because it was about the coaches and the players and the outcome of the game. And then I started to live my adult life on my own. I got married and I had kids, and I started on this show that I host every day now called Good Morning Football. And there's more personality in that, but it's inches. It's towing your foot into the water. It's deciding, is this, appropriate's the wrong word, but is this fitting for this moment? And you never fully pull into the parking spot, at least on Good Morning Football, when it's your own personal stuff, because football always has to be in the basis of it. And I'm fully okay with that. And that's something that I understood, and I also crafted and learned that over time. All that being said, I will let you into parts of my life here that I probably haven't before. And it's not because I was doing that on purpose. I'm not like a wildly private person. It's just there wasn't space for it. So that's going to be fun. And my final one for the Wills before I move on to the Will Nuts. We are not that different, the people watching me, and we go through hardships, challenges. So I think I said this earlier, when I go to tell a story, or when I go to think of something that happened, today, like Jane Goodall just passed away. How sad. And then I'd probably tell you a story about how I took my kids to the San Diego Zoo recently. It's just going to be stuff like that. And I'm going to put the clips on social. And like I said, I just want you to kind of unload in the comment section, because if that's where you want to be seen and heard and felt, then that's really cool. This feels like an authentic chat with Jamie, sitting across on a train. Who still takes trains? Is that still like a big East Coast thing? I haven't been on a train in a long time, but that's kind of what I want it to be. We're FaceTiming for 30 minutes. It's just that I'm doing all the talking, unfortunately for you. And lastly, on the Wills, we had this other guy on our show today on Good Morning Football. He's an actor. His name is Asher Grodman. He's on Ghosts on CBS and Paramount Plus. And he kept coming back to this theme, which I thought was really fascinating. And it pertained to football, but he tried to tie it into acting, which I could appreciate, which is to lead with ego. Don't lead with ego, and lead with collaboration. And I just can't hammer this point home enough, that I'm not going to be able to do this for a year and change, hopefully, without you guys in the comment section. I think of great, great, great talk show hosts over time that people love watching. And I love, actually, I might clip this off and put this in the comment section. Here we go. Now we're really going to kick it into gear. I'm going to put the sweatpants up. That I used to watch, Oprah as a kid, Ellen, and think, look at how engaged that studio audience is. And I don't know if the future of television is ready for that to totally go by the wayside, but I do believe that it's human nature for people to sit in a studio audience and listen to somebody talk about the world and life and how it relates to them. But again, hopefully that person is relatable. And that's why people sit in the audience and want to listen. Drew Barrymore, I think, is so talented. And that's what I want the beginning of this to be. So that's some of my wills. Okay, let's cover some will nots. And I already forget Kevin. Yeah, it was Kevin. Kevin, you bring up my first will not. I will not make this thing about sports every single day. Period. That's just so anyone who's here, this is just like a precursor for what this is going to look like. Anyone who's here who is looking for like their top 5 running back fantasy advice or preview for a Thursday night football game, this is not the place. I appreciate you. I too am curious about those things, but not here on No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl at 4 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube. Okay? So to the football fan who's watching this right now, there's going to be football stories there because that's what my life has been baked in. There's going to be stories like, I remember this one time, this crazy thing happened to me at a Super Bowl. Sure, that's football adjacent. It's still going to be a story. And I just want you to know that this isn't going to be the place for like a World Series preview in a month. So it's not going to be sports. I just wanted to ease into that. That took me about 25 minutes to admit. Okay, that's been covered. However, there's a caveat to that on the will not list. I do have friends in the sports industry that have agreed to stop by No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. However, we will not be talking about their sports, okay? And I'm going to use this person as an example. This is not what I'm saying is going to happen. But like, for example, if I had Rob Gronkowski come on, he's not even really a friend of mine. We're just kind of like football adjacent. I am going to start those conversations. We're just setting the table here. We're setting the standard, putting up a boundary, if you will, that if Rob Gronkowski comes on, I'm going to create like a dollar jar on this set in this little square you have me in here. And I'm going to put $1 in there if I ever have somebody on who's from the sports world and the first small talk we make is about football. I'm not going to do it. I will not do it. And if I will be the first one, and then we're going to donate that money to charity. Okay. So it's an okay habit to have because that's kind of the friendships and that's why we're both there. But there's so many other parts of these people that I enjoy talking about. And I don't think people know that either about those guys. So for example, Rob Gronkowski is going to be, that's just the one that came to mind. Honestly, I don't know why. Probably because he's like the most dynamic from a football personality, but I want to sit and ask them, what are you known for? And frankly, if someone was asked to define that of themselves, I always think that answer is really fascinating. And then what are you known for? So it's like, what is the public interpretation of you? And then what do you want to be known for or known as? And I have to imagine that anybody, sports or not, that comes by those are two different answers. Okay. And frankly, the second answer is probably the harder one to disclose, but I'm going to try. So there are going to be sports friends that stop by. I already have one recently that committed to doing it, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's going to be a cool guest, and it is going to be hard not to talk about football, but we're going to do our best. So the last thing, and somebody just wrote this that I want to touch on. I am not going to be overly political in these conversations. And it's not because, how do I put this? My politics, my personal politics are very much something I have never publicly disclosed. It's just not, again, it circles back to the sports television. Just not a time or a place. I don't think it really matters what I care about or what I'm invested in if I'm trying to chase down Nick Saban at halftime. There just wasn't a time and a place. However, I keep circling back to, I want this to be a community and a conversation and a place for storytelling and frankly, positivity and not taking anything that seriously. That the second I politicize anything, it immediately is going to alienate half the people from even being a part of the conversation. And that is my pet peeve, honestly, socially. So I can have my stuff that I like, that I dislike, that I believe in. What I am going to do is just humanize everything. Okay. So if things happen in the world, I'll talk about it. But I really don't see a situation where I'm going to come on here and bang a drum politically that is going to alienate everybody, because this is like a group hang, okay? And the group hang doesn't want to make anybody feel, at least not one that I lead, I don't want to make anybody feel like they walk in the room and people stop talking because they came in because they know that you might believe something else. I'm just not going to do it, okay? So those are my will nots. We're just here to hang together. I'm going to humanize stuff. I am a human. I feel things. When terrible things happen in the world, we'll talk about it. But it's not going to be like me standing here with a poster board and covering headlines. So those are my why, my wills, and my will nots. Lastly, there it was, guys, 30 minutes. Couple last points. I have people that are going to stop by. So one of the shows that is very popular on television right now, obviously, is Pat McAfee. I'm not going to stay on the whole time. I can't do that. But what I like about what Pat's done, and frankly, I wish this upon anyone's life, is that Pat hangs with a group of people that are obviously very close and they trust each other and they work well together. So I will have characters from my life on this show. The characters are going to have a schedule, okay? And you're going to get to know them because these people bring out different facets of my life. So here we go. The first person that you are going to meet, and frankly, this is going to happen right away on Friday, is my sister. Okay, so speaking of being political, whatever I believe, my big sister, first of all, is like the biggest empath I've ever been around in my life. And I'm not very empathetic. This chick is wildly empathetic, like off the charts. So she's going to come on every Wednesday. My big sister. She's 3 years older than me. She's a nurse practitioner. She's a mom too. And frankly, both being moms and having like identical genetic code is probably where our commonalities stop. However, she is my closest female friend. She is, like I said, a really empathetic person. And she draws a certain side out of me, whether it be storytelling, things that are happened in our lives. She makes me think of things differently. She's actually training now in to become like a counselor in the mental health space. So I talked her into it a lot because of that, because she's going to come on and talk about some stuff. I think she's going to do couples therapy, which that's going to be some good stories, HIPAA included. We don't tell anybody's stories, but she's training to essentially be a couples counselor. So my sister's going to be on every Wednesday, Big Sister Wednesdays. Her name is Jacko. That's just what we're going to call her. Jacko. It's all my kids call her, and it's all I ever called her. So Jacko's going to be on Wednesdays. She's the best. We're going to get the church giggles going. I have to train my voice to go longer than 32 minutes. It's just my sister and I. Good question, Angela. So I'm the youngest. I'm younger than my sister Jacko by 3 years, and she's the oldest. She lives in the Pacific Northwest, and we're super close, crazy close, like closer than close, but wildly different humans. And the baseline difference in the humans is that I don't think she knows how many teams are in the NFL, or frankly, what month the Super Bowl is played in. She has a Google alert set for my name, like just in case something happens in life. And because she doesn't, they don't turn the TV on. They have one of those TVs that shows like a pretty artwork frame, and like mostly it just shows flowers all day. She listens to classical music. Like we're just so different. We're so different. She's an introvert. It's wild times out there. So Jacko's going to be on Wednesdays. And secondly, I mentioned I was married. So my husband, people can, look up his name. That's fine. My husband's he's not a private person. He's just somebody who, oh my gosh, how do I best describe it? The hardest working person I know, and a wildly supportive partner, someone I'm super proud of. But man, when I tell you that like being on TV and caring about some of this stuff in terms of popularity or fame or relevance, like the man could care less, could not care less. The point is he doesn't care. And he doesn't want to be seen. He doesn't want to be known. No, we're not doing Husband Fridays. This is the thing about my husband is, in Home Improvement. Remember that Tim Allen show? I think it was on ABC when we were kids, when I was a kid. And the neighbor's name was Wilson, and you never saw his face. That's like what my husband wants to be. So we're just gonna reference my husband as Wilson. Also, because Tom Cruise is like obsessed with that volleyball in Castaway. He's like, Wilson! That's how I feel about him. So he's gonna be Wilson, but he's not gonna be on. My husband's best friend is coming on Fridays. We're going to call these Dad Fridays. So Big Sister Wednesdays, Dad Fridays. And my husband's best friend is one of my closest friends too. But I also think there's something fascinating in the married adult life of having friends of the opposite sex. Now, this one doesn't really qualify because it's my husband's best friend, but you get the point. This is a man in my life he's got kids that are older, a little bit older than mine. He played professional hockey. He's retired now, and he's in like the regular working world. And so Wilson's best friend is going to be on Fridays, and you'll meet him next Friday, starting next Friday, Dad Fridays. So any dad content, any dad questions, any like, you know, moms I feel like are strong on the social media game, and rightfully so, with like this is what's annoying, this is what's frustrating me, this is what's wild today. The dads need representation too, and we're going to have Dad Fridays or Father Fridays. Or it's still a working title. Big Sister Wednesday, Father Fridays. And then on Tuesdays, I have a friend in my life now, and a friend in my adult life. I think that's an important clarification. Her name is Giselle Ugarte. Let me spell it for you. Giselle Ugarte. Giselle Ugarte. And she is honestly, what feels like a human coach. She's one of the most positive, supportive people I've ever witnessed in my adult life. But the thing about Giselle is we have known each other since the 5th grade. And we used to not like each other. Which is, again, something wild to admit now, because we're pretty valid friends now. I really am proud of this adult friendship that we have established. But we did not like each other in middle school. We didn't like each other that much in high school. And we went to a really small school in Minneapolis. And so we just kind of are very aware of the people, because we had a graduating class of like 90 people. And Giselle and I just kind of stayed in touch over the years. And we're going to get into this as to why. Partly it was because I think it was professionally competitive. I mean, she's going to have to reference this as well. She's going to be on Tuesdays, Giselle. She's committed to Tuesdays with me. And the reason why you're having all these different people, and Giselle, you got to go on and look at her stuff. She's Giselle Ugarte, Giselle Ugarte. She's so impressive. But she's going to come on and talk about her world, her life. We're, again, super different people, but she draws a certain side out of me. And frankly, she represents a time in my life and a person that I was, and frankly, what she was, that I think it's a really, really cool story of female friendship, adult female friendship, something that I struggle with, which we'll get into. We're just going to get into it all, okay? So that's it. That's what I have so far. And then Mondays and Thursdays, I'm kind of just leaving open for like the special guests. And that's like, you know, big name people that I could just wildly convince to jump on here and chat with me. But I want those regular characters in my life, because, you know, you see people start shows a lot. I refuse to call this a podcast. It's that bad. I see people start shows all the time, and they, I think, run out of steam because they get really guest reliant. And so I didn't want to do that. I wanted, honestly, this today was just like a personal challenge, and now we're just cooking with gas. I wanted it to be able to be this. Okay. So you guys have been awesome. Any of these guests going to have their faces absconded by fence post? No, Dave, that's just Wilson. Okay. We're not going to refer to my husband by name. He's just Wilson in the stories. I just have to commit to Jacko, my sister, to call him Wilson, and his best friend. But you guys, like the photo evidence that we have, these guys are best friends from college. So they've known each other a lot longer than I've known Wilson. And I saw somebody write West Wilson would be a good guest. I'll try to get West. I bet he'll come on. He's got his own show too going right now. So lastly, I don't know if I'm going to do this today. I had a whole story I was going to tell you, and now it feels like we have taken too long of your time. And the sweet spot for me was kind of the 30 to 45 minutes. So I'll save this for tomorrow. Tomorrow's four words of the day, I think, are going to be a good human. I always have to check it. Is that bad? Count it on my fingers. Be a good human. I've already decided. Be a good human tomorrow, day 2 of No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. So to review, you've heard the why. You've heard the what I will do for you. You've heard what I will not. We're probably going to add to the list. If I have a guest on who is specifically from a branch of my life that is very dominant in my personality, which is sports or the NFL, if I dare have this person on and the first thing we say to each other is about football, money's going in the dollar jar, and that dollar jar is going to eventually be donated to charity. That's an idea I just came up with on the fly. And what else did we come up with? Oh, Big Sister Wednesday. I used to hate you Tuesdays. Hate is such a strong word. I think we agreed on I used to hate you, but now I don't. That's with Giselle Ugardi, because she's an absolute star, and you guys are really going to like her. Again, we're super different. And so this is going to be fantastic. And then Dad Fridays. Someone's saying Father Fridays, but Dad Fridays it is. So hang tight. We'll be back for day 2 tomorrow. We've agreed to the 1-year commitment. Yeah. You guys, I really appreciate you so much. This was really fun. I enjoyed every single person responding. Let me just do a quick look through. I did have 0 sleep yesterday. Grade school friends. Yeah, we've been friends since 5th grade. Father, I have sinned Fridays. That's a fantastic suggestion. Maybe mom days. I hear that. Mommy, I don't like the word mommy, so I'm kind of never gonna say it. My own kids don't say mommy. Frenemy Tuesdays. That's a really good idea. Okay, we're gonna work on this. But those are the people that you're gonna know now, and I'm gonna have other friends come on. But you guys are great, and I really appreciate this. And that was it. No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl, episode 1, the debut. It happened. Fantastic. Good job, anybody. The duffel's not back yet. Okay, I still have to figure out. I have to go on delta.com and like. I think that something I should have done was I was really lazy and tired. I went to the desk, the baggage desk, and they said, like, yeah, your bag's still in Amsterdam. It'll get here eventually. And I was like, all right. And I just kind of walked away. I probably realize now I should have filled out a form, because all the websites are like, enter in your claim number. And I was like, I got nothing. I just got my bag ticket. So I fear that the duffel is in the wind. I'm going to have to find it. Everybody, thanks. Be back tomorrow. It's Be a Good Human, day 2. I already have a story loaded up. It's not a pretty story. Okay. It's something that happened to me last year, and I'm going to review it because there's a lot to unpack about it. Okay. Fantastic. No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. The